At least 30% of my cabinet will be women if elected in 2024 elections. That was September 2024. President John Dramani Mahama, the elected president, said this, that 30% of his cabinet will be women. Today, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye announced the women, and unfortunately, President Mahama could not make the promise. Why are we all failing in this promise? Professor Mills failed in this promise. Nana Akufo-Addo didn't quite promise, but he became a gender champion, trying hard to push women in. But Nana Akufo-Addo didn't have a cabinet of 30% women, but he was the African gender champion. The question we are asking civil society today is that why are our politicians eager to promise that they will do something for women? Is it because the demographics shows that women have more voters? Because all our politicians promise that they will do something for women, they never are able to do it. I don't think President Mahama didn't want to do it. I'm sure when he arrived at the office, the circumstances dictated otherwise. So this is what he said. 30% of cabinet will be women. We announced to you tonight that he's broken his first promise. Now let's see why. Okay, it's here again, captured by GH1. 30% of my cabinet will be women. John Mahama, NDC flag bearer. Within the first 14 days of my presidency, I will nominate my cabinet, 30% of whom will be women. First 14 days of his presidency has also been missed. Cabinet was announced today, and so President Mahama, but that's not important. We can leave that. What we are concerned is how come that President Mahama, who really wanted to do this, was not able to do it? Is it that his party doesn't have enough women? Is it that there are not enough women he could have nominated to have 30% in his cabinet? I don't know why. The women groups should come and ask him why. So at the end of the day, there are 2 women out of 19 ministers times 100%. The answer you get is 10.526 or 10.53. This is the broken promise of John Dramani Mahama. Sorry, sir. It can be very, very, very difficult. We know that you wanted to do it. Perhaps as part of your 4-year term, we'll get to the point where you'll be able to achieve this objective. But for now, this is a broken promise. We sympathize with the president. It's not very easy. But today, Prof Gyampo wrote this. President Mahama himself went to sit with Labour for the base pay negotiations. This is leadership, humility, respect personified. Previously, even common ministers felt too big to sit with Labour. Reset, no more gross disrespect for Labour. That's what he said today. Labour have been offered 10%. Labour was offered more last year. Nobody's talking about it. That's what it is. When you propagandize into power, you are not even able to say what last year was. So Professor Gyampo reiterates, looking for something about the event. The point of that negotiation is not who came or who didn't come. Apologies to Professor Gyampo. Prof, it has nothing to do with who came or who didn't come. It has everything to do with what the Labour Union was offered. And Akufo-Addo offered the Labour Union 30% last year. Inflation has come. President Mahama has offered the Labour Union 10%. It is lower than what Akufo-Addo offered. But Prof Gyampo's conclusion is President Mahama himself went to sit with Labour. That's what he chooses to say. Let's see what he said yesterday. Oh, where is it? I can't. What? Gyampo yesterday. Is there a video? Let's play the video.
Dear Ghanaian workers, I'm telling you, in the negotiation of base pay, rethink the caliber of people you send to go negotiate for your interest. Because some of the people, if you allow them to continue to lead you, they would remain rich and you remain poor. Dear Ghanaian workers, I'm telling you, in the negotiation of base pay, rethink the caliber of people you send to go negotiate for your interest. Because some of the people, if you allow them to continue to lead you, they would remain rich and you remain poor. Dear Ghanaian workers, I'm telling you, in the negotiation of base pay, rethink the caliber of people you send to go negotiate for your interest. Because some of the people, if you allow them to continue to lead you, they would remain rich and you remain poor.
This is Professor Gyampo, who was almost suggesting that Labour Union leaders have been bribed. That's what he was saying. That those who go and negotiate. He was talking about how they should negotiate for more. This was 30% given. Austin Game then said that 30% was not even good enough. Today, Labour Union is getting 10% from John Dramani Mahama. And this is Austin Game. Austin Game describes 30% increase in public sector base pay as reasonably adequate. Then what does he say of 10%? Please, you have it. Put it down very quickly. Let's see. He said something about the 10%. Austin Game again is going to come very soon. Austin Game said 30% is reasonably okay. When it's 10%, Austin Game said today that 10% is too high. That President Mahama has done too well. 10%, 30%, and 10%. I don't understand. Do they think that people, no, Austin Game, I sent you Austin Game. He said 10%, please get it for me. Prof Gyampo says President Mahama himself went to sit with the Labour. We've seen this already. Now, today, Prof Gyampo's issue about the 10% is that President Mahama showed up. Yes, thank you, President Mahama. I think it's a good thing. Let's clap for President Mahama for leaving his job at the Jubilee House and showing up to go and negotiate with Labour Union only to give them 10%. What did the leaders of the Labour Union get to agree on the 10%? Prof Gyampo should come and tell us. He was alleging that when Akufo-Addo was there, Labour unions were collecting bribe. That's what Prof Gyampo was alleging. They were collecting bribe to conclude a negotiation at 30%. Today, Labour unions didn't take bribe and concluded a negotiation at 10%. And Prof Gyampo says President Mahama showed up. So that is good. Why must President Mahama show up? President Mahama must do his work as president. He's supposed to give the Labour unions and the Labour people a very heartfelt reward for the work that they've done for Ghana. 10% is woefully inadequate. 30% we said was inadequate. 10% is good. Austin Game said that 10% is too much. Can you imagine that? Watch Prof Gyampo again. He was alleging against Labour leaders that they have taken bribe to accept 30%. Have a look at it.
Dear Ghanaian workers, I'm telling you, in the negotiation of base pay, rethink the caliber of people you send to go negotiate for your interest. Because some of the people, if you allow them to continue to lead you, they would remain rich and you remain poor. Dear Ghanaian workers, I'm telling you, in the negotiation of base pay, rethink the caliber of people you send to go negotiate for your interest. Because some of the people, if you allow them to continue to lead you, they would remain rich and you remain poor.
Said if you allow them to lead you, they will remain rich and you will remain poor. He was alleging that Labour Union leaders have taken bribes from Akufo-Addo to agree on 30%. Today, Labour Union got 10%. 10. Not 30, 10. And they haven't taken bribe. Today, the response is, oh, President Mahama is great. So he himself went to the... Why is President Mahama? Professor Gyampo is a professor. He understands systems. He knows that President Mahama need not be there. If the negotiations go well and Labour get what they want, President Mahama need not be there. Should President Mahama be jumping from negotiation meetings with Labour Union, negotiation meeting with CLOSAC, negotiating meeting with Teacher Union, negotiating meeting with Nurse Union, negotiating meeting with Doctor Union? Our president, elected under Article 58, should not do that. Here's Austin Game. Labour consultant Austin Game has described government's recent approval of 10% wage increase for public sector workers as excessive, warning that it could exacerbate inflationary pressure. This is the kind of thing we see here. Civil society, hypocrisy. This is the hypocrisy we see. 10% is too much. 30% is only good. 10% is too much. If it's President Mahama, he shouldn't do too much to affect the economy. If it's President Akufo-Addo, even if he does 100%, it's not good. Hypocrisy is this. This is total hypocrisy, and we should abhor it. For example, my friend, and Austin Game, they should stop that. Do your work, and let's see what happens. Don't try hard to make something black gold. Black is not gold. Gold is not black. Orange is not yellow. Yellow is not orange. Yellow is yellow. Orange is orange. Austin Game says that the 10% is too much. He thinks we've forgotten what he said about the 30%. That 30% was only reasonable. Oh, it's reasonably good. Oh, it's just reasonable. He hasn't done it. It's just reasonable. 10% is too much. What hypocrisy is this? Total hypocrisy. I've never seen some before. What is this? Austin Game describes 30% increase in public sector base as reasonably adequate. Then put a 10% there. Austin Game says 10% is excessive. What? Even class 9-year-old person will look at this and say, who is Austin Game? What is this? This is how we run our politics in Ghana. This is it. We are ready for it. Everyone should be ready for it. Because I like what the lady said on Joy, that the democracy has now arrived. We will not allow the government to do anything they want with our power. The democracy has now arrived. Akufo-Addo does 30%. It's not good. John Mahama does 10%. It's too big. Austin Game, labor authority on labor all over the world. He's known. Austin Game, because he's an NDC man. Oh, he hasn't said he's not an NDC man. He's a former minister. I've interviewed him as a minister before. He was a minister for labor, so I know him. Because he's an Rollins didn't like him. I have a story. I won't say it today. He knows I know why Rollins didn't like him. Rollins told me. Austin Game, he says that 10% of John Mahama's labor wage increase is excessive. Labor, have you heard? Austin Game says Musika Nedamamo does too much. Akufo-Addo gave you 30%. Austin Game says it's just reasonable. Prof Gyampo says that labor unions have been bribed by Akufo-Addo to accept 30%. But 10% is good because John Mahama showed up for the meeting. Oh, new nooks. You are a professor of political science. Why? 10% is good because John Mahama showed up for a meeting. That's all. 30% is bad because it is too low. 10% lower than 30% is good because the president showed up for the meeting. We don't want our presidents to be showing up for labor union negotiations. That's not what Article 58 said they should do. Article 58 said the executive authority of Ghana shall vest in the president. He's supposed to demonstrate it. Must he be jumping from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting to show that what? He's humble. That's what we want as Ghanaians. Okay, let's have it. President Mahama should not attend any such meeting anymore. He must give firm instructions, and the instructions be carried out. Why is he attending labor meetings? And Prof Gyampo comes and says that, oh, it is nice. Anyway, that is for rethink the people you send to negotiate for your interests. Gyampo advises labor unions. He's alleging that your leaders collect bribe because they brought you 30% increase under Akufo-Addo. It's bribe they took to get you 30%. President Mahama comes and gives you 10%. That one, they didn't take bribe. That one was a beautiful meeting because the president attended. 29 minutes past 10 o'clock. Let's get to the other political TikTok. So, my friend Joyce Bawa, what has she done wrong? What has Joyce Bawa done wrong? They make a cartoon of her that she's holding bag and that the bag is costing 1,930 pounds. Is it necessary? Is it necessary? It's not necessary. If a government appointee is holding a bag, so what? People come to government. Some come straight from school. Like I came straight from school to government and I became deputy minister. Fine. Another person comes straight from school. Another person from school goes to work and do something else. Politics too is work. I mean, I've always been concerned about people who say that, how can you just come from school? Yeah. It's work. It will, however, mean something, but it doesn't mean it's wrong that come straight from school to politics. It's not wrong. So please, Mr. Agbana, MP for Keta, it's not wrong. You haven't done anything wrong. Straight from political science to parliament, you haven't done anything wrong. It has consequences. It has ramifications. That's all. But you haven't done anything wrong. Then I saw, why I'm doing this is that I was just laughing and giggling about it. I saw the MPA boss, Edwidji Tamaklo, write out a full script about why Joyce Bawa is qualified to have a bag because she has been practicing law. And then I cringed. I said, this guy, is he serious? The people you've been talking about, have you forgotten what their credentials are? What are you talking about? Joyce Bawa today has been practicing law. Why are we not in this country? What is he talking about? That Joyce Bawa is practicing law so she can... What is he talking about? Joyce Bawa of yesterday is this. And Joyce Bawa of today is this. She was practicing the law before the yesterday. Joyce Bawa has been practicing law for 20 years. Before 2018 and 19 and 21 and 22 and 23. She has been practicing the law for 20 years before then. That was this. Today she comes into government because she's won election. It is this. And Tamaklo is telling us that if she was practicing law, it should have showed here. It shouldn't show here. If Joyce Bawa was practicing her law and therefore she is okay to buy expensive ladies' bags, it should show here. It shouldn't show here. This is after government, 1,900 pounds of bag that she was holding 2 weeks into government. 2 weeks, 1,000 pounds. So after 4 years, how much? Hallelujah. 2 weeks, 1,000 pounds Joyce Bawa. 2 weeks, 2 weeks government, 1,000 pound bag is holding. This is Joyce Bawa in opposition. Where is the 1,000 pound bag? Nobody should come and give us that. I have a story to say about declaration of assets. The assets that they declare that the Constitution doesn't say we should publish, what is the point? That's for Tuesday. That's for Tuesday. It's coming. I'm doing a research on all those who have published their assets ministers Article 71 point. I'll bring it out. And I'll make the point that what is this if we can't find it? But that's later. So if Joyce Bawa was declaring her assets, and please bring Joyce Bawa, let me finish. If Bawa was declaring her assets, and this bag was not in the asset, but it shows up 2 weeks after government, 2 weeks, so 14 days per £1,000 bag. If you were holding a £1,000 bag already, it's okay. When I was going to watch football at Manchester State, they said I've stolen airport money. I was able to demonstrate that in 2014, I've been at Old Trafford from long ago. So everybody kept quiet. You can't tell me that you were practicing law or you were a corporate lawyer so you could hold a bag. We can listen to that. But you have to hold that bag before the election, not after. Or you have to hold a similar one before the election, not after. If you are not holding a similar one before the election, the social media police in Kofi Nyako, Samuel Brian Boabin, they will get you on this one. They will get you because they will bring the picture. Now Joyce Bawa does video, she's not holding bag. She will speak the truth. You hold back. Joyce Bawa, you hold back again. You will hear it because you said Samira shouldn't hold back. You won't hold back. You will never hold back between now and the end of the tenure. You otherwise go and bring this bag. This one, that's the only one we know. Go and bring it. If you take another bag, we'll tell you the cost. We'll tell you where you bought it. Selfridges. We know there. We will show you where you bought it. The democracy has come. The chickens have come home to roost. When you run a campaign like that, it will bite you in government. If you run a campaign the way you run the campaign, it is 4 years. It is 4 years. It will bite you in government. Plenty of time. Let's watch this space. Our friend, what's his name? I like you so much. Support from USAID and other international agencies is being cut to Ghana because of the erstwhile MPP corruption. Dr. Safo Tanko Rashid Computer, acting CEO of GIFEC. Have mercy on us. This man is Dr. Safo Tanko Rashid Computer. He's the acting CEO of GIFEC. And he was able to say, in spite of the news on Joy FM, the news on City FM, CNN, Oman FM, To Me Radio, everybody has quoted Donald Trump's reason for abandoning USAID. And a high-profile official in Ghana has not heard it. Look at how he's embarrassing the Republic. Look, every JSS child is reading and laughing. See how he's embarrassing the Republic. This is internet era. This has gone around all over the world. People are sending to me from America. That, hey, which your minister be this? Go and look on the scoop. It's on Abisadel platform. It's on Achimota platform. It's on Presec platform. It's on St. Peter's platform. Everywhere. And the people on the platform in America, they are sending it. That, hey, Ghana, why? What is happening? Who is this? Who is this one too? Then they are doing question mark. Then we are all embarrassed. Let's leave all this out. Now let's get to the story. All right. So the question we ask, what is the problem? Now, the minister has said that he wants to privatize ECG. So let's begin the story with PDS. So MIDA and PDS. So MIDA was an important part of the whole PDS arrangement. What was the PDS arrangement? PDS was an arrangement that was inherited by the Akufo-Addo administration in 2017. It was an arrangement that was put together in 2016. It was inherited by the Akufo-Addo administration. What was PDS going to do? PDS was being set up to take up ECG. They were going to take up the most important commercial aspects of ECG's work. They would do that as a private company. They come in, they take a concession, they run the ECG, take their money, go away. And when they are running ECG, they will determine for PULC a few things, how much to pay and all of that. The question at that time was, this was not necessary. Akufo-Addo and important members of his government decided that they will not privatize ECG. Ghana must have ECG. ECG can be fixed. We'll keep the lights on. We'll not privatize ECG. And they departed from what they had inherited with PDS. Why are people smelling the rats right now? I'll tell you why. There's a gentleman, a very clever gentleman. They'll put his photograph there in a minute. You see him. Yes, I'm referring to this very clever gentleman, very intelligent man. Now, he was the COO of PDS. I'll get his name in a minute. Where's my small paper? Aha, good. Mr. Julius Pepena, that's his name. Mr. Julius Pequena is a very intelligent man, and he's an asset to Ghana, okay? Now, who is Julius Pequena? Julius Pequena was the COO of MIDA, the chief executive of MIDA. He was the CEO of MIDA. MIDA is the Millennium Development Corporation. They were part of PDS. There's an American angle looking at privatizing things so that it can work efficiently. All the things that we, the capitalists, talk about, which is, in essence, might not be good for a country like Ghana. But he's very well versed in these things. Now, this is how the rat was smelt. He was COO of MIDA at the time when this conversation was happening. When Akufo-Addo became president, he wasn't CEO of MIDA anymore. Now, he's been appointed as a chief executive of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG. As soon as Mr. Julius Pequena was appointed, everybody said, wait a minute, we don't want PDS anymore. Why are they bringing Julius Pequena to ECG? Yes, a very intelligent man, but they don't want him at ECG because once he comes to ECG, privatization is going to happen. Now, let's move on with the conversation. Okay, so here's ECG MD. President John Dramani Mahama is the president, and John Jinapor is the minister. Now, as soon as Mr. Mahama became president, he started complaining about power and generation and all of that. So the ECG privatization seems to be a clear agenda. Today, the Workers' Union of the ECG, the Power Union Workers Association, they are called PUWU. They went to meet with Mr. Jinapor and told him that they don't want ECG privatization. And then some of us got wind of what happened in the meeting and everything. But we also know the full story. Let's get you the full story over here. How does power get distributed in Ghana? That's very simple. So this is the way in which power gets distributed in Ghana. So up here is the fuel supply. You can also call it the gas supply. So anybody who supplies fuel is up here. If for some reason the government of Ghana is buying fuel from you, you are Allied Oil or you are Fraga Oil or you are Shell, you all come to fuel supply. So from fuel supply, it goes over to the generators. That is, the fuel goes into the generators. So I saw Glee Power Plant, Senate Power, Sen Power, ASCA. Is it ASCA? Yes, ASK. Yes, all of them. They are generators, okay? So then they come to the transmitter, which is Gridco. So Gridco will then transmit, mind you, this part, this transmitter and the distribution all used to be ECG. All that used to be ECG, okay? So the generators are all of them, including VRA. VRA sits here because they also have TICO in Takoradi is VRA, and some of the generators are under VRA. And then Hydro, which doesn't use fuel, but it also generates, is also under VRA. Okay, so that comes to transmission. Gridco is a transmitting platform that is done, and then it goes to the distribution, and the distribution is by ECG, comes to your house, comes to my house, goes to your former secondary school at Disadel, goes to my former secondary school, Prese, goes to your grandmother in Atebubu, goes to my grandmother in Yamuase, and all of that. So this is how it works. All right. What is the government intending to do? Let's move on. So government wants to hand over billing, payment, and collection to a private company. But why should we do that? I mean, why in God's name should we hand over the Electricity Company of Ghana's payment, collection, and billing to a private company that is coming in from somewhere? It's not Ghanaian. No Ghanaian businessman is going to benefit. Just come and take over ECG, and they will go and bill. They will collect the money from us, and they will make the payment. That's it. That's all they are going to do. They're going to bring in meters and all of that. So the issue against the privatization is the government must explain what is wrong with ECG now. What is the privatization going to cure? From what the PUWU are saying, the privatization is going to cure nothing. It's just going to make the lives of Ghanaians worse. For a government that has run on the back of social contract, a left-wing government comes into government and privatizes ECG. Please tell Ambassador Kwesi Pratt and the Socialist Forum that I'm going to hound them until I hear their view about this ECG privatization. Because if this was happening in MPP era, Kwesi Pratt would be on Good Morning Ghana and say that we will never allow the privatization of ECG. He would have said it. Today, his daughter is in the office of the vice president. Government wants to privatize ECG. Kwesi Pratt says he hasn't heard it. Kwesi Pratt has not heard that the government of the NDC wants to privatize ECG. I have been following Kwesi Pratt for 25 years. He's a socialist. He's against privatization. And I'm telling you that if this was MPP, you come on Good Morning Ghana, he can even come on Good Evening Ghana. We will not allow the privatization of the ECG by the government. The workers of this country are going to rise up against it. That's what Kwesi Pratt would have said. Today, we have not heard him. We have not heard anything from Kwesi Pratt. Electricity Company of Ghana is being privatized. Socialist Forum says they haven't heard it. We have heard it. and we are going to say what we have to say. All right. So, but didn't ECG try to resolve revenue losses with a loss reduction project in 2022, 23, and 24? All right. This is the catch on this one. So ECG was getting losses, and then they decided that they were going to have a loss reduction project. There's a young man there who was doing very well. Incidentally, his name is Mahama. The guy who was at ECG, his surname is Mahama. I've forgotten his first name. But in during his time, they did this. Okay, what did this achieve? From the records that we have seen, this was a policy to decide that meters, is a big part of the ECG conversation. So they wanted the meters to be manufactured in Ghana so that it cuts off a lot of the cost. So they brought a policy where if you want to do meters for ECG, you have to have a company domiciled in Ghana, and then you manufacture it from Ghana. And then when you manufacture it, ECG gives you an area, say Teshi Tebibiano, where I live. So you go to Teshi Tebibiano, and then you go and install your meters. When the ECG recognizes within a number of days, month, that Teshi Tebibiano revenue has increased, then they now believe that the meters that you supplied is the reason for the increase in revenue. It is then that they begin to pay you. Now, this process, do we have the figures? Yes, this process led to an increase in revenue of about $1 billion, showing a jump from 500 million per month, one single month, to 1.5 billion in revenue for ECG. Viewers, look at this. This is correct. This is happening. That this led, the revenue losses about getting meters to occur here, getting meters to be manufactured here, gave a revenue jump from 500 million to 1.5 billion, almost a 1 billion jump. The PURC says that this could be better. PURC says that based on this arrangement that ECG brought up, they should have been picking up 2 billion instead of 1.5 billion. They found out, however, that the shortfall is as a result of government agencies that don't remit ECG the way they have to. So ministries don't pay, some universities, secondary school, etc., etc. In any case, this brought 1.5 billion. So this looked like a policy that they should continue. Now, there's something interesting going on here that you have to see. There's something very interesting going on here that is also bringing the smelling of the rat. This document I have here shows that the demand-supply balance and fuel requirements to mitigate deficits. So it's about fuel requirements. How much fuel do we need? In December 2024, the NPP government's handing over notes said that generally in total, all over the country, we are consuming at peak time 3,953 megawatts of power. That's what we are consuming in December, as according to the document. We have been told by the Minister for Energy that our consumption is something in the region of 4,400. The question that we might use an RTI to ask the Minister for Energy is that what happened? Why is the 3,953 megawatts wrong, as was projected by Akufo-Addo's government in their handing over notes? How did we jump from 3,953 to 4,400? Now, viewers, do you know why that is important? That's important because the minister is telling us that he's going to take our taxpayers' money to import fuel so that we don't have doomsor. And he's importing fuel, according to the Honorable Jinapor, he's importing fuel for 4,400. But the cost, the megawatts that we have is 3,953. So why is he importing fuel for 400 megawatts more? That's a conversation we need to ask him. Do you know what the industry experts are telling us? The industry experts are telling us that is something that is as they say, is, I don't know what word to use. But you're supposed to import fuel for 3,953. If the government imports fuel for 4,400, there's some fuel there that the 3,900 doesn't need. What's going to happen to that fuel which has been bought by taxpayers' money? Now, that's a lot of fuel. It's not like my Hyundai car or your Toyota car. No. It's proper fuel, plenty. They are talking about megawatts for electricity generation. So 400 megawatts of fuel needed for 400 can fill your tank, my tank, for 10 years. So it's a lot of fuel. Your taxpayers' money is going to buy it. The minister comes and says, we are going to buy for 4,400. And journalists are not asking that, wait a minute. NPP said 3,953. When did we move from December to January that we are now consuming more? The Honorable Minister Jinapor said so. He has to come and say how he came by the 4,400. All right, so this is just to show you that we are getting concerned about something. Now, we are suspecting that the PDS arrangement is going to come back. That's the same arrangement. It's going to come back. And we are worried about it because this PDS thing is very dangerous. And the MPP, the NDC campaigned that the MPP should have kept the PDS. I don't know whether people remember when they call it PDS scandal. The PDS scandal was that government said we cannot go on this PDS thing. These people are bringing some insurance that is questionable. I don't want to say much about that because it's before an arbitration panel. The PDS have sued and the ECG are with them in an arbitration panel. The government of Akufo-Addo strenuously argued that the insurance something, I don't want to say it because it's before an arbitration, that insurance something should be looked at. You know, I'm just using mild words. And so that's before arbitration. Now we get the sense that this whole arrangement is just a way that NDC is back to power, so PDS back. What is PDS? Get some friends of the big politicians, bring them in. They have formed a company called PDS. The company doesn't have a leg in Sudan and doesn't have an arm anywhere, but they form it anyway. They come, ECG signs a contract with them. They take over everything ECG, and they say they are doing bailing, collection, and repayments. They will be given a sum of money. And then they are gone away. They share with the politicians. And that's what they call corruption. Corruption in high places. Corruption without tears. Corruption with tears. That's what it is. There's nothing more, nothing less. This is what it is. What is standing at ECG that as soon as the government arrives, the first pronouncement they are making, we are going to sell ECG. Where is the crisis? Ask the minister, where is the crisis that we are going to sell ECG? We are going to, a socialist government comes to power and the first thing they do is not to give free SHS food. It's not to give water. It's not to talk about national health insurance. We are going to revive the national health insurance. The socialist government comes and they are doing privatization. Are they a capitalist government? What is happening? Are they a capitalist government? A socialist government arrives in Ghana. The first thing is we are going to sell ECG. Sell ECG for what? Why? Why do you have to sell ECG? If you ask the minister what's happening in a meeting today, it was almost fights. It was blows. The union says, no way. Show us how, what's the problem with ECG that you want to sell it? It is just cronyism and making money. That's it. People have come to power and they think that, Charlie, bring our friends back. Let's cut a deal and do something. You know, that's what they're doing. Now, this document here will show you the kind of contract that had been prepared for PDS. Now, in the contract for PDS, the government of Ghana is correcting everything that ECG complains about in the contract for PDS, so that in the relationship with ECG, government doesn't care. But in the relationship with PDS, government is interested in protecting PDS's business interest. Government is not interested in protecting ECG's interest, but as soon as a private person comes into ECG, the government of Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana is interested in protecting the private person's interest. Let's see. Now, in this document, which is the PDS regulation, it's in section 6.2 of the GSA that provides as follows. They call something condition precedent 4, okay? And it is, they say that any change in law or change in tax, that in either case has a material adverse effect on PDS, and the company is not able to recover all of the portions, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so in effect, what they say is this. Let me step back and read it well. The Ghana government shall compensate PDS for such reduced revenues, increased costs. I'm reading at the last 3 lines. So you can read with me. Company is authorized to charge end users, comma. Now, after the comma, let's read. Then Ghana shall compensate the company, which is PDS, for such reduced revenues, increased costs, or additional tax liabilities through prompt and effective compensation. Now, do you know what they are talking about here? They are telling PDS in the contract that was abrogated, which we think they are bringing back. They are telling PDS that if you give PURC charges, you know, ECG gives PURC how much they should charge us. But PURC will look at it and decide. Sometimes they don't charge us what ECG wants them to charge us. Now, ECG is doing the analysis based on revenue, and it's a profits and loss analysis, okay? It's a P&L. So ECG are saying that, look, this is what we need to get. So if you charge the customer this, we can run. So then when the thing comes to PURC will look at it and add a human face to it and decide that, no, you can't charge that. Now, this document is saying that in the case of PDS, if that were to happen, which happens every time, the PURC doesn't give ECG what they are looking for. If that were to happen, compensation will be paid to PDS. Can you imagine that, viewers? We do a contract like this for PDS, that's a private company that has political friends, but the ECG, when they give PURC a figure, and PURC are not able to do it, no compensation is paid to ECG. And then ECG is making losses, and then we make ECG make losses so that we can sell it to our friends and pocket a lot of money. Is that what politics is about? Is that what winning elections is about? Why does anybody come to power and say, I want to sell ECG? You will sell ECG to who? It will never happen. ECG belongs to the people of Ghana. You cannot sell it. If you and your friends want to make money, go and do a farm. You will make a lot of money or do something. But you cannot touch what belongs to the people of Ghana that I'm selling it. Why are you selling it to who? It will never happen. That's your ECG. It won't happen. What are you talking about? You come and sell ECG. You are a socialist government. You are selling the state assets. And Kwesi Pratt says he hasn't heard it. I see. Okay. VRA sells to Sonambel. Togo, La Côte d'Ivoire. Gridco sells to Togo and La Côte d'Ivoire. ECG sells to Ghanaians in cedis and does not earn any foreign exchange. Now, let me explain this to you, viewers. Every day, you say ECG is broke, ECG is broke, ECG is broke. Let's sell it. VRA is never broke. Gridco is never broke. Do you know why? Because ECG sells petrol power to us. They distribute it to us in cedis. So 1 cedi per megawatt, 2 cedi per megawatt. They collect cedis from us. And then they go and change it in dollars at the Bank of Ghana and pay the IPPs dollars. They collect cedis and pay dollars. One day they are sitting down, the cedi has moved from 8, 10, 12, 15, 16. We don't know what's happening tomorrow. We anticipate that there will be no further devaluation of the cedi. We thank God for that and we pray for that. We know that John Mahama can do it. So let's wait. But look at the cedis zigzag that he's been doing up until now. You tell ECG that anybody, even if you are Elon Musk, and you are told to sell power in cedis, change it to dollars, and pay IPPs in dollars, even Elon Musk will run losses. But the same arrangement allows VRA to sell power abroad and collect dollars. What does VRA need the dollars for? Yes, every company needs dollars, but ECG needs it more. Because ECG is going to pay the bill, the debt of Senate power, Sem power, Asogli power is put on ECG's head. So every day ECG is looking bad. Why can't ECG also be allowed to sell power to Sonabel in Côte d'Ivoire, Sonabel in Burkina, Côte d'Ivoire, etc., etc.? And the other question we're going to ask in our second presentation, how do we have portions of Ghana in Dumso, but Ghana power is being sold to Burkina and there's light in Ouagadougou? And there's darkness in Teshi. There's light in Ouagadougou from Ghana's power. They say Kwame Nkrumah signed some contract in 1959, so that is it. We can't do anything about it. Do you know why? Because people make money from that. Not just the states, individuals make money from that. That's why there's darkness in Teshi, but there's light in Ouagadougou from Ghana. The Ouagadougou light is from Burkina. It's from Akosombo. It's from Akosombo. It's in Burkina. Then if you go to Akosombo, Atimpoku is light off, but Burkina is on. Why do we do this to our country? Why? You see, that's why the white people look at us and they say, these people, are they okay? America, this will never happen in America. That there will be darkness in America and American lights will power in Mexico. Really? Why? The Bible says, love thy neighbor as thyself. It didn't say love thy neighbor more than thyself. But we do that because somebody in there is making money with a politician. That is it. Nothing more, nothing less. So your darkness, call your friends in Ouagadougou. There's lights. They are watching the Real Madrid and Manchester City. You can't go and watch. You have to travel from Teshi. You have to go all the way to Mamprobi to go and watch it because Mamprobi is where there's light. This is the situation. So the points we are making is that this whole ECG conversation is human beings' hands that is turning ECG around. Then they come and tell us that, oh, ECG is broke. It's hurting the country. We are spending. Let's sell it. Then they call their friend. Mr. Thompson in UK, please come over. And then Mr. Scott in New York, come over. They form PDS. They take the ECG. They share the millions. They are gone away. It will not happen this time. I heard somebody on Joy this evening, a lady. She was a teacher. She said, she was speaking on top of her voice. He said, democracy has now come to Ghana. We will ensure that when governments come, they cannot do what they like. You can't take the people's power and sack teachers. What is wrong with you? You come and take people's power and say you are sacking them. You are using the state power that was given to you against the people. I read David Ofosu-Dorte this evening. He said in Ghana, governments only know how to show power. They don't know how to use it. This power thing, it will not happen. You come and sell ECG. You come to power, you take ECG and sell it. Then you and your friends share money. Go and buy houses abroad and come and tell us that we are a poor country. You were telling us that somebody is corrupt. Yesterday, you were telling us that Samira is holding back, she's corrupt. You come to power and you want to sell the state assets. The Samira that you said she's corrupt, she didn't tell us she wants to sell state assets. The Akufo-Addo that you said is corrupt, he came and you were selling ECG. He said, I'll stop it. You can't sell ECG. Akufo-Addo stopped it. Then you come and say Akufo-Addo is a criminal. And you heard the president today, he said the economy has been managed criminally. We are waiting for the details to come out of how the economy was criminally managed. Because Mohamed Amin Anta, when he was leaving, he gave a full statement. But today, President Mahama says the economy was criminally managed. That's what Atu Forsin has told him. Fair enough. You have met an economy that has been criminally managed. And the first thing you want to do is to sell the prize state asset. And Kwesi Pratt says he hasn't heard it. Socialist Forum, they haven't heard it. That ECG is on sale. I'll remind them every day here, and I'll put their pictures there. Socialist Forum. You haven't heard it, that the price Kwame Nkrumah asset is for sale. We are here. We will see what will happen. So this is the story. This is only our first bite. What's this? Oh, no, leave Joyce Bawa alone. I'll come back to it. It's 1 minute past 10 o'clock. ECG is going for sale, and it is going to cronies and their friends. And the good work that was done in 2022 and 2023 to raise the revenue from 500 million to 1.5 billion, the minister is yet to report that to Parliament. Should we put an urgent question? Now, producer, remind me. Kisi Ajaben said Ken Ofori-Atta is a fugitive from justice. So I want that fugitive from, because tonight, there's a fugitive from justice that we know has come to town. A fugitive from justice is in town, and we have all the information we'll share with you in a minute. So that's the ECG story.
And obey from my own will and my infusion. I wish and pray that no matter what, no matter the differences, no matter everything, I would wish that one day, that the relationship, and that Kwame Nkrumah yako, anything you Kwame Nkrumah contemno. They go back to that relationship, because it will be very difficult. The party can go through 2028 if you know and understand what they did prior to 2016 NPP electoral victory. I am told the party no crown Congress Tamale 2014. As leaders, no. Because the party was in opposition, and I know, I have been told, people have confirmed. Say Kennedy Japan, Chema Wun to me, and Chema Robert Kutin, former Central Regional Chema, may he so rest in peace. Omune fun day, the Congress in Tamale. Inti, ebi a can be election. Maybe a well chairman support no, chairman Beko election be a can support no, but in the interest of the party, they should come together and give the MPP the energy. How the my party no. Nyese bia omo carbon na wunti akọ support no bit, and as one so be support to me bit. Well, it's here fine, but it's here in the interest of the party, the energy that they inject into the party. I am praying and hoping so omumienu will buy their difference no matter what has happened, and they will come together and they will give the MPP youth the hope that they provided ahead of the 2016 elections. Not 2028, no. Almost had that partner who to me bill. Abba, omuji to me my number say you money man me I don't care. Yanko Yanko
me ji say na do pa otrefia ade obenu no hu ba ko ye kwan a ebi ofa so appointment binum
amoye amoye kran
kan be fa so obenu no hu no ba ko no
na me say we are comedies in fear nine the NDC for the 2 me be ye wo krom anam no
yes ya bro from Gomios
it is a what hanom a hey wo na wo bofu na wabamabu na wodi yawo ye kan ya wantie
sure
yakoto aba eye watwe MPP aso wabufuo no eye
jai to ho
hold it there na wan hwe yi a se wa maya nyai ne manto ne yankan wa mu ma nya adwuma amfa partner mapawa what we are going through no
be ha adwen
and I said the MD this for the be fam no
o ya ma awia akoto abufuo so
I wish you say obi awani
odi
ni ebo boba
omu bedi tumi ankasa
omu de wa mu di ada mu di fili
omu bedi tumi
omu di fili ankasa omu mfa ni agro